Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Josh Young with Miami-Dade College's Institute for Civic Engagement and Democracy. I'm going to talk about a fostering voter engagement across all disciplines faculty professional development workshop. We created this in 2020, piloted it. We offered it 13 times and 206 faculty attended. So it was very successful. However, we're now working on a version 2.0. So that's what I want to share with you today. So our department is under the umbrella of change-making education and social innovation at Miami-Dade College. And this is the definition of change-making education that we use. And as you can tell, voter engagement fits perfectly under that definition. It's just a little bit about Miami-Dade College. We're a community college. We have 8 campuses, more than 100,000 students. Our student profile is very typical of community colleges. Most of our students work, struggling with life, family, work, school. They're often distracted because they have so much going on in their lives. They're generally not from a culture of voting. Most of them are first generation. We have a lot of students who are immigrants to this country. And actually about a quarter or more of our students are not US citizens. And frankly, a lot of our students just are so busy trying to survive, they don't pay that much attention to politics or even know basic information about voting and political parties and all the things you can imagine. So our department, Institute for Civic Engagement and Democracy, we call ourselves ICED. We have offices on all 8 campuses, and voter engagement is a core program of our department. So something to know about community college faculty is they teach 5 and sometimes as many as 8 classes every semester. So each professor is touching a lot of students, as you can imagine. So our strategy is really about connecting with faculty and helping them integrate voter engagement in their classes. And that works really, really well. It's very effective in a community college setting. We have 10 learning outcomes, things like critical thinking and communication, all the basic ones, but number 6 is about personal, civic, and social responsibility. So that's very relevant to this work. The other thing to know is maybe 8-10 years ago, we created our own one-stop election-ready website, mdc.edu/vote. And it's up year-round, and then as elections near, we build it out even more. So a lot of our work is helping faculty understand and familiarize themselves with this website in the hopes that they will also share it with their students. We actually had 27,000 views of this website leading up to the 2020 election over a 6-week period with the help of faculty. So at MDC, the way you get a workshop approved for faculty professional development is you have to prepare and submit a proposal, and you can see the things that we have to describe, and it goes through a long process of being reviewed through our faculty teaching and learning department, our academic deans. So it's quite rigorous to get it approved. So we prepared a proposal, and our audience was all full-time and part-time faculty. The requested hours was 2 hours, so 1.5-hour workshop with 30 minutes for homework, because in order to receive the faculty professional development credit at Miami-Dade College, you attend the workshop, but you also have to complete a post-workshop assignment. So that assignment was to create an election-ready module for your class. You weren't required to implement it, but after taking our workshop, you put some thought into it. And I'll show you the form that we gave them as a template. They would complete that and submit it in order to receive the credit. This is long, but this is a description of the workshop. I guess I'll just give you a minute to read it. But it's about preparing students to become responsible, thoughtful, engaged citizens. It's our collective right and duty to register and to vote. And this workshop was for faculty from all disciplines. And we wanted to emphasize that we have easy to use strategies, and our goal is to help every MDC student become election ready. And then we listed some of the things that we covered during the workshop, like how to register to vote, checking your registration status, election deadlines, vote by mail directions, finding nonpartisan information about candidates and ballot issues. That's huge, right? Because we all know registering to vote is only part of the process. and helping students become informed voters is probably even more, well, is more complicated, and making a plan to vote and more. So we emphasize that it's nonpartisan, wanting to help students understand why their vote's important, barriers that prevent them from voting, and also how students who aren't eligible to vote, who are in your classes, can also participate in all of these activities except for actually voting. And then we wanted to emphasize, as a result of this workshop, faculty will create an easy to implement plan to help their students be election ready. So as I mentioned, we promoted this widely, college-wide, and we're able to get 206 faculty to take the workshop in 2020. And here are the workshop objectives. So the most important thing is, how can you tie voter engagement into your course through your course competencies and or MDC learning outcomes. I mentioned learning outcome number 6 earlier, which is our personal, civic, and social responsibility. So that's an easy one. We just wanted to make sure that everyone was clear about the importance of being nonpartisan, go through the steps necessary to be election ready. And a lot of it was about our vote page, and then design a module for your course. And in the Google Drive, I have the actual PowerPoint that we used in 2020. And this is how we organized the hour and a half with our professors. And we left some time at the end for them to work on their homework assignment. So a lot of them could finish it actually during the hour and a half. And I wanted to mention a great resource that we used as one of the foundations for the workshop. Maybe many of you are familiar with this: Graduating Students into Voters, Overcoming the Psychological Barriers Faced by Student Voters. This is easily found and downloaded. I put it on our Google Drive, but some of the slides in our workshop were straight from this presentation. And there's a lot of these folks at ID42 did a lot of research about how students decide to vote or not to vote, and some of the challenges they face, and some of the best practices. And we found this really, really helpful. And again, we spent some time on this with our faculty, so they understood the research and what some of the best practices were. And then again, these are slides from our workshop, but in the end, we wanted to make sure faculty understood these 4 steps in helping students be election ready, and the workshop guided them to do that. So at the end of the workshop, again, they had to complete a very short homework assignment, and they would put their name, their campus, and then our vision was that students would be able to create a strategy for fulfilling their civic responsibility to vote by making a personal connection to why voting is important, then by learning about how to vote, and finally by making a plan to vote. So the questions that the professors had to answer, and you can see these are all very easy. Which of your course competencies could be connected to election readiness? Which MDC learning outcomes could be tied to election readiness? Obviously number 6, but what about some of the other ones? How might you incorporate this into your course? And we listed some of the resources that we went over in our workshop. You can see them listed there. And again, most of these are listed and shared in the Google Drive folder. And we asked them to describe how they might do this. And then number 4, how will your election readiness assignment be incorporated into your course? Is it extra credit? Is it part of an in-class lesson, et cetera? How will you assess that your students are election ready? And then what questions do you have for us? So professors turn this in after the workshop. So some of the resources that we created and are going to be using again, and if I have time, Maddie, I'll share a few of those from our Google Drive. A Be Election Ready worksheet, which walks students through the whole process, and a lot of professors assign that. We have a really cool Why Vote worksheet, which is from the Right Question Institute. Elected officials worksheet. We had a quiz. We have some videos. So here's some pending to-do things as we get ready for this next election cycle, and also areas that I could use help in. So I need to update our vote page. I want to make some tweaks to the faculty workshop. I want to create interactive democracy quiz. I have some that I've used in the past, but I just think it makes students enjoy that. And we also use that during the faculty workshop. Just things that are surprising about what's going on in our democracy. Now, here's a big one. I need to create a faculty tab on our vote page and build out a table with resource and assignment ideas. I'm going to share a draft of that right now. And I need to include more information on media literacy, combating misinformation, civil dialogue, civil discourse, gerrymandering, a little bit more on the faculty role, do's and don'ts, how to handle controversial topics, and then other ideas that you all might have to suggest to me. So here is this table that I'm working on, which is basically, and we'll cover this in our workshop, but it's going to have a whole bunch of easy to implement things that faculty can do in their classes. So a real simple one is just open up the MDC vote page during your class and walk students through all the pages and show them all the things that you can do there. And that can be done in class or as homework, or this be election ready worksheet. And again, this is a draft, so I have to finish this in the next month or so and continue to add more items. This is my contact information, and Maddie has it. I think everyone has it.